Thank you very much for the introduction. In most of my previous situations, the internationality has consisted in me traveling to other countries for lectures, visiting appointments, shorter or longer stays. But the peculiar situation here will be that I don't even have to travel any farther, and the whole academic community from all the continents will be gathered right here in our classrooms. So that's quite an interesting experience for me. I spent a lot of time in the States, about 20 years before I came back to Munich some 12 years ago. I've also recently been visiting on appointments and for lectures a lot in South America and in Asia. And so I hope to continue the kind of international dimension of my work, focused as it is on essentially European philosophical traditions, by engaging now the very mixed and various student population here at VIU. The two courses are global in not so much a geographical, rather a chronological perspective, in that they involve contrast and comparison between an ancient and a modern culture, and it's specifically Greece, especially 5th century Greece, 5th century BC Greece on one side, and recent developments in Europe, and particularly in Germany, 18th, 19th century on the other side. And the focus is, in one case, the relation between philosophy and religion, and in the other case, the relation between philosophy and art. And in both cases, there will be a decidedly political perspective along the lines of political philosophy to these investigations. In the first of these courses, then, on the alternative of heritage or hindrance, we'll be examining philosophical reflections on the status, the function, significance, the meaning, the truth of religion in philosophy. On the one side, in classical Greece, where there's a very strong sense of the civil political function of religion on one side, but also an emerging attempt to revise and even critique religion from a distinctly philosophical perspective on the other side. And we'll move then in the second half of the course to examining the situation in modern Europe in the wake of the Reformation and the upheaval in the previously very monolithically determined religious and philosophical culture of Europe through the events of the 17th and the 18th century. And here again, combine attempts by philosophers to appreciate the contributions of religion and compare them also with distinct criticisms of religion from a philosophical perspective. So the course ranges chronologically from 5th century BC Greece through 19th and even 20th century Western Europe. The second course, under the label Birth and Rebirth of Tragedy, compares and contrasts again a Greek and a more modern form of culture, specifically focused on the dramatic form of tragedy that was invented in Greece and is very much a 5th century BC Greek cultural product with deep roots in Greek cultural and political life in its own times, and then also with a very difficult and various history of transformation and modernization in more recent times. And we'll be studying primarily against the background of the classical beginnings there in theory and in practice, in tragedies and reflection on tragedy, the modern attempts as part of an enthusiasm for matters Greek to revive Greek tragedy as a modern music drama in the theory and practice of modern opera, especially as created by R.Wagner and as documented and theorized about by Nietzsche. So these are the two courses that are somewhat related in their focus on a heritage dimension that combines the classical Greek and the modern Western European, also in the dimension of pairing antiquity with modern times, in the common focus on a political dimension of these relations between philosophy and religion and philosophy and art and tragedy in particular. I should add about the format of the course that it will be seminar style. You'll find in the brochure the indication of the syllabus and the readings list. They're fairly difficult readings, so don't underestimate the amount of work that it might take for a comparatively small number of pages, but rather plan on thorough preparation, because we need to discuss these matters in class on the basis of a general prior study of those materials. And I'm looking forward to the two groups that will constitute each other then through the selection of the next few days for that kind of work in our classroom over the next 3 months. Thank you.